Hello folks, today is going to be one of those days where we say, do we fly or do we drive?
It's the hardest part of flying for me, I think, making that go, no-go decision. Join me as I prevaricate over the forecast and fight that urge to go flying when staying on the ground is the safest thing to do.
What's it doing up there at the moment? Is it still foggy?
Pretty groggy at the moment, to tell you the truth. We've probably got 500 metres in fog.
Oh, what do I do? What do I do?
Find out what I did in this Flying Reporter decision-making debrief. I've said many times before that making these go, no-go decisions are for me the hardest thing when it comes to my flying. The British weather is nearly always complicated, and if you only flew when it was cav-ok and there were light winds, you'd soon become a very rusty pilot. I'm going to show you some of the pain and prevarication I went through trying to decide whether or not to fly to Old Warden a few months ago. I'd been invited to an event there and I had to get there one way or another. Of course, flying there was my preference, but I was prepared to drive if the weather didn't cooperate. In the coming minutes, you'll see the process of me making that go, no-go decision. It's something I usually don't share on here because I'm often too busy making those decisions at the time and preparing for my flights. But on this occasion, I could see it was going to be a difficult and interesting day, a difficult decision that had to be made, and so I turned the cameras on. As always, I consult many sources of weather information, including the UK Met Office F215 low-level forecast chart. One glance at that chart shows you that it was a bit of a messy picture that day. Not a lot of wind, moderately low pressure, unstable air masses, and forecast mist, fog and low cloud. But the conditions were forecast to become flyable at some point before 10-11 a.m, and it was that possibility that meant I was willing to hold out for the flight. You can see what the weather was like as I drove to the airport, a bit of mist around, and knowing that the weather was forecast to improve, I kept monitoring the METARs for all the airfields on and around my planned route to see if things were getting better as predicted.
It's just gone past 20 past 8, so we should have a new ATIS right now. ATIS being the automatic terminal information service. It's the weather basically. And we can phone into the one at Red Hill, so we'll give that a call now and see what the latest observation is.
Surface wind 1003 knots. Cav OK. Temperature +1 degree.
Cav OK.
1 degree. QNH 1010.
Well, that's promising. So we're going to continue on to Red Hill, and I'm going to have to stop, pull over, and have a look at the Luton METAR and see what that's doing. Right, let's have a quick look. So, yeah. So as we just heard there, well, Gatwick's 9 kilometre visibility, so it's not great, but that's VFR now. And Luton, well, Luton is still shrouded in fog and low overcast cloud, so this is a real dilemma, because it's, how long is it going to take to clear? According to this, it's becoming no significant weather, scattered at 2:05 by 11 o'clock, and that's when we're due to land. But as we know, fog can be a bit unpredictable. What else have we got going on here? Let's have a look at Stansted. Stansted's much the same, low cloud, low visibility, 700 metres. That's forecast to stay pretty poor for quite some time longer.
So I decided to continue on to Red Hill. There's hope that the TAF is saying it's going to be clear by the time I'm due to land at Old Warden, but I really do have to be there around 11 o'clock, otherwise I'm gonna, it's not gonna look good. I need to be there when the event's going on. So I'm still holding out hope, whereas I think in the back of my mind I know where this is going. So I head off to Red Hill and decide to make a final decision there.
And it's actually raining here at Red Hill, so that's not a good sign either, is it? It's still overcast at 200 feet. It's still got 200 meters visibility. Have they updated the TAF? No. I just don't think this is going to clear in time for me to get there. It's clearing up a bit at Stansted now. It's almost VFR at Stansted.
So you can see I'm being sucked into this promise of improving weather, even though my experience tells me that when conditions are like this, it nearly always takes longer than the forecasters think for things to get better. It's now flyable at Red Hill here. It's improving along the way, but because Old Warden, where I'm going, doesn't have a weather observation, I give them a call to see how it's going there on the ground.
Old Warden traffic.
Good morning, it's Golf Bravo Mike India Victor here. I'm due to come in.
Right.
Yeah, I'm due to come in to you later. What's it doing up there at the moment? Is it still foggy?
Pretty groggy at the moment, to tell you the truth. We've probably got 500 metres in fog. We're expecting it to clear, but probably not within the next hour and a half or so.
Okay.
Got nil wind, so we're just hopeful on the sunshine at the moment.
It was going to take me about an hour to fly to Old Warden, and I did even contemplate taking off from Red Hill in the hope that it will all have cleared by the time I arrived and needed to land. There would have been some moderate risk in that plan, and I think that's what's really interesting for me to debrief from this whole experience. You've seen that I'm constantly checking the weather, the METARs, the updated TAFs, the satellite pictures, and I'm almost willing it to give me the answer I'm looking for. This is dangerous, I think, because I'm at risk of looking for things that confirm my biases. The moment anything improved, no matter how slightly, it pushed me further and further towards conducting the flight. The will to fly was so strong that I was in danger of ignoring all the signs and instincts that were saying it was a bad idea. What's more, this constant being on edge, the constant checking of the latest updates and so on is quite tiring actually, and the longer the wait goes on, the more tiring it becomes. And I've been in situations before where I've had to wait many hours, stuck at the airport, in the cold, with nothing to do, waiting for the weather to improve. And by the time I've actually conducted the flight and landed safely at my destination, I've ended up being pretty fatigued by it all, surprisingly so. Anyhow, let's see what happened on the day in question. Did I fly or did I drive?
Right, decision time. It is 20 past 8. No, 20 past 9. Well, we've got 800 meters visibility now, overcast at 200. We'd be taking off in an hour from now. I just don't think that's going to really get much better very quickly. Stansted is now VFR, so that's actually gone VFR really quickly. Gosh, this is so hard. Oh, what do I do? What do I do? You know, the speed of Stansted improving, which is, let's face it, what is it, 25 miles away, to becoming VFR, like completely VFR, makes me wonder if Luton will. No, I think we're driving. Oh, what a pain. What a pain. Old Warden Airfield.
So I stopped prevaricating and set off for Old Warden in the car. Interestingly, 2 hours later or so, when I finally arrived there, it was clear that that had been the right decision.
So we're here, and what do I think? Could I have made it in? I think it would have been a bit of a push, to be honest. It's cleared quite a bit, the viz is much better. Probably only about 3 kilometres. So touch and go, and the cloud's quite low cloud. Probably about 1,000 feet cloud, so I think we made the right decision, folks.
So I've been wondering what I could do in future to prevent me getting sucked into the same tiring prevarication cycle again. I recognise that it's risky, and if I was with other people, other pilots, it might have been even worse. There would have been the danger, the risk of risky shift, where we all egg each other on to give it a go. I asked one of the instructors at the Astral Aviation Consulting team what they suggest I do in future, and they told me what they do in these circumstances. Firstly, they recommend setting a hard go, no-go point. This is the decision point that you don't let slip and let it drag on and on. In other words, if the weather isn't right at that point, then bin the flight. Also, they said that while it can be tempting to keep checking for every update from the METARs, it's best to have one look and then go away and do something else before coming back to check the METARs one last time at the point at which you make your decision. In other words, don't do what I did, which is to watch every minute improvement, because that strategy is tiring, as we've pointed out, and it's likely to lead to bad decision making and confirmation bias. Also, you might find yourself then trying to conduct the flight in a rush right at the last minute when the weather window suddenly opens, and of course that can lead to trouble too. I'm sure I'm not the only one to find this all quite hard. Let me know in the comments if you can relate to my struggles with the weather.
These briefings are made with the help of Astral Aviation Consulting, and they run free safety workshops for the GA community. The next one covers the issue of skill fade and is on Wednesday the 26th of February at 7:30 in the evening, British time. To register for the online session, visit astralaviationconsulting.com.